Okay, hi guys, welcome to year 2025. So today is our first session of our monthly direction, monthly profit guide by ERA. So this is the year of the snake. So first and foremost, I want to wish everyone 蛇年行大运，恭喜发财. May everyone be what this year? Okay, so we'll just jump straight into what's going to happen this month itself, and we just jump straight right into it. So first and foremost, thanks everyone for logging in. So my name is Alex Lim, and I'm one of the executive director of agencies with ERA. So I'll do my level best to share with you what's going to happen, this year, and so that you can prepare a game plan for yourself. So what's the game plan for all of you this 2025, right? So when we start the year, we need to plan out all our property investment and our property journey so that you can make full use and make a lot of money this year. So one of the three things that I think I want to highlight this very session. Okay, so there are the three R's that we want you to take note. So what is the first R that I'm talking about? First R, we're talking about reconnection. Okay, this year, I think it's a year that you should reconnect back with all your agents right now, because I think there are a lot of things on the table and we have a lot of exciting investment opportunities for all of you. So first R is to reconnect back with your salesperson. Second, okay, we want you to look back into your portfolio and probably refresh your portfolio. Okay, so later I'm going to share a little bit about tips and how you can actually do so. And the third R itself, okay, what's the third R itself? Is to recycle. Okay, what's the meaning of recycle? Okay, you need to recycle up your property portfolio, right? From a non-performing location to, a better performing location. So these are the three things I feel that this year is something that you guys should look out for. Now, talking about first R, why are we talking about reconnecting back with your agent? Because I think every year the market does move, right? And also last year, many things happened. So it's always good to catch up what is happening. I'll just give you guys a little bit of summary. Okay, what has happened last year and moving forward, what are the trends that we basically see at this year 2025 itself? Okay, what's the first R? Okay, first I think you have to stop losing to inflation. I think property is definitely something that everybody wish to invest in. And I think for those who missed out, basically you missed out not just in property. I think you missed out quite a fair bit into inflation. So what is inflation? This very, very big word. Sometimes people think inflation may not affect me, but actually inflation affects everyone. Okay, not just property, not just you. I think all your food prices, home prices, even your petrol, right? Even COE also went up. Okay, so I think inflation is definitely going to eat into a lot of our money. So we really need to put our money into good use. Okay, so how does inflation actually affect you, as a consumer? Okay, so this is what we call a consumer price index. Okay, so this is drawn from the Singapore statistics. So what is inflation actually and how does it affect you? So inflation, okay, is actually a good thing for all economies. So I think the government's perspective is that there must always be some form of inflation, but not too fast right now. If not, everybody gets priced out. So last year, what happened? So whether we like it or not, okay, in terms of inflation, just for example, food, okay, went up by 2.9%, right? So things are getting more expensive. Your chicken rice or McDonald's, everyone is getting more expensive. Okay? So these are the effects of inflation. So not just food, you can also look at housing and utilities. Okay, 3%, it went up. Okay, you can look even at healthcare. I think it went up the most. So everybody must take care of your health this year also. Okay, so healthcare is getting more and more expensive. It went up by 4% last year. Okay, and also, okay, education. Okay, in terms of your tuition, your school fees. So these are things that really, okay, if you want to, why are we always talking about property? Because property is one of the ways that you can actually invest and probably hedge against all these types of inflation. Okay, so every year, there's going to be some inflation. So this year, okay, what is actually the projection, right? The projection, okay, for the MTI, okay, we're going to share with you, but last year, everything went up by 2.5 to 3% in terms of inflation. So across the board, this was what happened last year. Okay, this is what happened last year. And okay, how does it affect property prices? Okay, so property prices last year, the prime property price went up by 3.9%, which is actually quite a fair bit. Okay, but if you look at it compared to the year before, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, okay, actually it went up even more, right? So you can see 4 years back, it went up by 10%, after which 8%, 6%, and last year 3%. Okay, so if you ask me, Is 3.9% a lot? Ladies and gentlemen, 3.9% is a lot of money, right? So imagine if you own a $2 million property, a 3.9% will probably yield you near $80,000. So this is actually a lot. Okay, so if you have missed out in buying properties over the last 4 years, you can calculate yourself, okay, how much you've actually missed out just by not taking action. Okay, so I think inflation is real and it's actually affecting a lot of our property prices, right? Construction costs, land costs, your human manpower costs as well. Okay, so this is the reason why property prices are actually heading up. Okay, what are the real effects of inflation? That maybe I'll just give you some perspective. So this is a perspective, in terms of inflation. So for example, if last year, okay, if you missed out on buying a $2 million property, which is the average price of a 3-bedroom today, if you miss out on that, you've actually missed out a potential gain of $80,000, just by doing nothing. So I think these are the things that, what we learn in all these years, that property is not just a roof over our heads. It's also a part of investment, a form of property asset protection into hedge against inflation. And for those who have not taken action, for example, you probably can actually have this cash, right? 600,000 sitting in your bank, you didn't buy a property. This money would also have lost out at least the 15,000 in terms of its real value just in 1 year. So all in all, in summary, last year, okay, if you've actually missed out 90 over 1,000 in what we call opportunity cost. Okay, so this is the reason why we always advise our clients to really look into if they have the ability to, is within their affordability, is really to look into properties as one of the major assets in your portfolio itself. Okay, so I think many Singaporeans know that. So last year, okay, you can see in the month of November, okay, people are actually looking to buy properties. And it's not just limited to the east, okay, not just limited to the west. I think it's all over Singapore, right? So you can see, okay, this place at Chua Park, okay, with only 900 over units, they had 2,800 check. This shows the demand of people looking to buy property, and not just as a home, also for an investment. Okay, so across the board, in the East Coast, we have Emerald Katong. Today is sold 99%. So this project, we had a record of 3,600 over, applications of checks that actually want to buy. So this is to share with you the sentiment of what has happened, okay, in the last quarter last year. And we believe that this quarter, it will probably follow the same trends. If nothing goes wrong, no new cooling measures, yes, I think this trend will continue to happen. Okay, also at Lava Group, we had also oversubscribed, 800 over checks, out of a 500 units development. Okay, so everywhere is basically having a lot of interest into buying properties. And if you look at the trend, right? So sometimes when you buy properties, you also look at trends. So where are we today actually? So this whole place itself is a 2024 last year. You can see in terms of transaction, we do see an uptick in transactions compared to last year. You can see the wave coming back up. So the last peak was actually just after the pandemic, right? Before the pent-up demand. But this year itself, you can see, okay, we will probably follow another uptrend, and this time around is no longer pandemic, it is real demand, coming into the market. Okay, so this is the reason why you see, the headlines talking about property, talking about, people looking to buy, talking about $1 million HDBs. This is the reason why, okay, we are in the upward recovery trend as of today. So who are the buyers buying? In the past, you always speculated, is it the foreigners or people speculating on properties? No, who actually buy our properties? As you can see, 92% of buyers are actually local Singaporeans. Why is this important to note? Because when buying a property, I believe you want to, protect your assets, right? You want to buy into a place that there's local domestic demand, right? You don't want to rely on external forces. So as much as possible, if this location, this country is supported by local demand, you can be very, very sure and safe that whatever you're buying today, there will be an easy exit strategy in the next 3 to 4 years to come, right? So we can't say about other countries, but I think in Singapore, this is the kind of confidence I have in Singapore properties. And also last quarter, in November, okay, we actually seen a record number of sales all in a single month over the last 10 years. Okay, so this is again to show you, okay, really, we look at numbers, looking at real demand coming into the market over the last 10 years, last November was really a record-breaking month. So if you have not been in the market, hopefully, use all these news, right? Go out there and explore, what is it for you and why are people actually taking action right up. So there will always be people that know what they're doing. Of course, the other one probably don't have a game plan, and that's why, you can have to reconnect back with our ERA agents to actually sit down with them, draw out your finances and a game plan this year so that you don't miss out on the wave. Okay, what's next? Wow, there's also another thing, overseas, in US that's happening, which is Donald Trump, is coming back, as a president of USA. Now, for us, Singapore is a very small country. Okay, what we want to do is, what we want to know is how does this affect our Singapore property market? Okay, so regardless of what happens overseas, we just want to look how is Singapore different and how do we stand out, as a country itself. Okay, so you look at this chart. Okay, this is to show you, because Singapore is actually a very, very small country. But this is a chart to show you the countries attracting the most millionaire migration last year, in year 2024. And you can see that Singapore, okay, out of the so many countries in the world, stands up. Okay, so the top country that has attracted most of the millionaires is actually this country called UAE, which is Dubai, after which followed by Australia, and third, Singapore. So I'm really proud as a Singaporean that Singapore is now on the world map, okay, for the wealthy, right? It is a wealth hub in Asia. So as Singapore, as small as it is, people now know who we are. Okay, so last year, this is where, millionaires are actually migrating, coming to our country to invest, to stay, and there are many, many reasons. For example, why do they actually come here, right? So sometimes the world can be messy, right? But in Singapore, we want to be stable, right? So that's the reason why investors are actually coming to Singapore, because we are a stable and resilient country. So what are some of the key reasons? Safety and security, right? Need not to say. Everybody knows, I think Singapore is safe, but let's not take it for granted. But Singapore is really, really safe and secure. Second, okay, it meets their financial needs, right? So we are a wealth hub. We have a lot of what we call bankers and financial advisors in Singapore. They can help a lot of our family officers. Tax and retirement, right? A good country with relatively low taxes. A lot of business opportunities. Singapore is small, connected, okay, and the legal system it's perfect. Okay, lifestyle, okay, climate. So these are things that they are looking out for. Even schools and education. Okay, we have clients that really just bring their children here just to study. So I think our education is really, really robust and widely known by all our investors. Of course, healthcare, right? So we really have people flying in to Singapore for long-term healthcare, renting in Singapore for a year or two, just because of our healthcare system. Okay, of course, standard of living. Okay, so I think if those into wealthy, they really want to mix around, with the people that really understands, to live well, they have to come to Singapore. Then, of course, okay, if you look at overseas, where are we? Who's our main competitor this time round? Okay, main competitor this time round, it's Dubai. Okay, but it's okay. Okay, if you've been there, okay, people are actually setting up business there. But as you can see in the news article, the super rich are moving to Dubai, but keeping their assets in Singapore and Switzerland. Okay, so they still believe in real estate in Singapore. Wherever they are in the world, they still come back to Singapore to put their money and their wealth. So I think Singapore is going to be a big, big wealth hub, in Asia itself. Okay, so next, I think in terms of interest rate, we all know interest rate basically will still continue to climb down, but at a moderate pace. Okay, so this year, don't expect high interest rate spikes, and also don't expect interest rate to deep dive. Okay, so I think based on the Federal Reserve, based on the projection by a lot of bankers, usually our interest this year, we may see just a fraction of a cut. That's about it, right? So we cannot cut too much as well. If we cut too much, you will see suddenly the property market will to boom. Okay, so the good news is that it's not going up. Okay, so the next good news is that it will slowly start to creep down this year and next year itself. Okay, so keep a lookout for that. So while the party is happening, right? So as many transactions per buying, making money, we also have to be, on the lookout for what we call the cooling measures. Okay, they may not be, but I think the government has all this data that they do not want Singapore properties to be speculated. Okay, so let's be honest, not everybody would buy, right? So I think as of today, we are still in check. But if it really runs against fundamentals, please be alert that you can see news articles mentioning okay, that the government will step in if prices were speculated. So what does it mean to you? Okay, what I always tell my clients is that if you have the ability to, don't miss the wave, because you never know what type of cooling measures may come ahead, right? So they may increase your down payment, they may increase your stamp duties, right? That will deter you from buying this asset called real estate. So sometimes, we always share with our clients, it's always good to buy and wait, right? Rather than you wait and buy, you may just miss the train itself. Okay, so while things are happening, okay, I believe everyone has opportunities every 5 years. Sometimes you have a good one or two types of opportunities. Don't miss it. Don't wait for things to happen. Okay, so the other part of the storyline, okay, of what is HDB happening last year. Okay, so you must also understand, okay, HDB's core mission. Okay, what is HDB's core mission actually? HDB's core mission is really, really to ensure affordable housing. But what has happened last year? Okay, so for those who are in the market, for those who are unaware, so this is to share with you. Actually, last year there was a very big increase HDB prices. Okay, so for whatsoever reasons, I think this is something that probably the government doesn't want to see. But good news to you, if you are a homeowner, yes, you have benefited last year. It's 9%, which is actually quite a lot, because 2 years ago it was only 4%. So that's the reason why you're also seeing a lot of news out there that there's a record-breaking $1 million HDB homes. Okay, so it's getting more and more due to the effects of inflation, right? As money starts to appreciate, this is the reason why you see a lot of $1 million HDBs in the market itself. But again, okay, I think these are the news that is not what HDB wants. But moving forward, as you must always remember, HDB's mission is to ensure affordable housings for all Singaporeans. Okay, and if you look into the details, actually our minister actually mentioned why the HDB price actually go up by so much. Okay, the main reason is because, okay, it was disrupted by the pandemic in terms of its BTO supply. So this is actually the core reason for the prices to go up. So you know that there's a reason, what do? Right? You take action towards that to moderate prices. So we must understand it's not a forever thing. So if you have made some money, good, well done. You're probably in the right time. But moving forward, the things may be different. So why? What is the HDB trend moving forward? Okay, so there are more and more HDB buyers actually opting to buy BTOs. Okay, so every year there's only like 25,000 of resale transactions. But just for example, last year in 1 month, October's BTO, you see that there's 8,000 over applicants. So this is a good more than 30%, okay, of the resale market buyers going to buy BTO. So sometimes if you're unable to sell your resale flat fast, it's not because your agent is no good. It's really because the buyer is looking towards BTO. So your real competition sometimes may not be your neighbor. It's also because of HDB BTO supply. Okay, so HDB is ramping up this supply. Okay, so moving forward, you get more and more BTOs. Now, why are buyers buying BTOs? Okay, or what actually deters them or make it interesting to buy BTOs? Right, so one of the reasons people buy BTOs is because BTOs are usually cheaper than the resale. Okay, so just to pull out an example, for example, if I look into Queenstown, right? So everybody loves Queenstown in a prime location. You can look at the resale. The resale is probably $1 million, right, for average HDB. But for a BTO, the government launches it between 600 to 800,000 for a BTO. Okay, so actually, if you ask me, I don't think they're worried about 1.52 million because they're actually launching BTO at 600 to 800,000 compared to the resale market. So this is real competition, moving forward, from BTOs. Okay, so even if you look at Tampines areas, right? So in the resale market, it's 7 to 900,000, but in the BTO, they're actually launching at 5 to 700,000. So this is all real competition. And also Tanjong Rhu, good location, waterfront, right? 800 to 1 million or your resale HDB. BTOs, they are launched at 500 to 700,000. Okay, so this we're going to see a big trend of buyers rather wait for a BTO. Now, can I ask you, if you were to buy a BTO, what's the main thing that's stopping you? Right? It's definitely going to be the timeline to wait for the BTO, right? So this Again, data I'm going to share a little bit from there. Now, if you look at the resale application, this is a trend, okay, that you see, today resale applications have been lowering, and it's a very clear trend that it will continue to lower, and people are back to buying more and more BTOs. Now, because it has a long wait, government also know, right? HDB also know there's a long wait. So they actually try to do this thing called shorter waiting time for BTOs. So we were doing a lot of research, I was actually surprised that there's a new lingo in the market. Okay, whether you know it or not, it's called SWT flats. Now, what are SWT flats? Basically, it just means short waiting time. So HDB, BTOs are having this type of flats. They're classifying it as short waiting time flats, right? So in the past, BTOs, you probably have to wait 5 years and 6 years, but today, things are very different. So what kind of wait, that they are looking into? They're looking into 3 years wait. So I think 3 years wait for a lot of buyers, they rather wait 3 years than to buy a $1.5 billion resale. So I think this is going to affect a lot of HDB demand, especially in the prime housing real estate. Not only that, okay, if you think 3 years is short, okay, how are they doing it? They're actually building HDB before they launch, right? So HDB is building a lot of BTO even before it launches. So if you think 3 years is fast, let me show you the next slide. You will be surprised. Okay, now they're all looking at 24 months of BTO, which is only 2 years. Okay, so this is how HDB is basically moderating the demand, bringing back it to BTOs compared to over speculation of the HDB. Okay, so this is what's happening. I think less than 3 years wait moving forward. So now we're targeting at only 24 months. I think this is as short as it can get. Okay, maybe next time it's immediate, so we don't know. But again, I think for at least this year itself, this is a trend that you'll see a lot of people going back to look into buying back BTOs. And of course, what is the other trend for HDB? Okay, we look into the papers in the recent last week or so. Desmond has always been talking about, we got HDB supply, it's going to be a lot of HDB BTOs. Yes, there's a lot of supply coming up into the market for BTOs. Okay, so 100,000 is actually a 5 years supply. Okay, so they're going to wrap up all this just to moderate prices. I think the difference here is this. Okay, for every HDB resale, there's always be a BTO that's going to be launched cheaper. So that is the angle that government actually wants our HDB to be. Okay, so with more supply, okay, take note, there's also this is actually what you call a recap of history itself. Okay, so 10 years back, there was also a major supply shift. It actually caused prices to go down by around 12.1%. So that was previously, whether you're in the market or not, you may not be aware, that was where prices actually headed south. This time around, I think we also do anticipate it to probably go down a bit because it's going to be 100,000 in terms of supply. Okay, moving forward, 2025 onwards. Okay, again, while things are happy, everyone is happy today, you're making good money, do keep a lookout again because last year, cooling measures also does affect HDBs. So for example, they have lowered the LTV from 80% down to 75%. So what I'm trying to say is that, cooling measures can affect both the private property market and also the HDB market itself. Okay, so what is the things that you can look out for this year? I believe you guys are singing a good gold mine. It's always good to relook, reconnect back with all our ERA agents, sit down with them, share with them, how much profits are sitting on. I believe they can help you work on a plan to help you maximize your dollar. Okay, so I think for this year, if you have the intention to invest, the intention to grow your asset, grow your wealth, I think it's time and timely for you to sit down with us. Okay, so the next flat is called Refresh, right? So owners this year, I think it's always good to look into refreshing your property portfolio, right? Everything will age, right? Even we age, right? Everybody ages. Property will also age, right? So our whole intention is for you to really relook into your portfolio. Your older properties, are they making good money for you? Or have they been making good money for you? I think it's good that you sit down with an ERA agent, and I believe it will help you share whether your property will continue to grow or has it been performing against market fundamentals. Okay, so what do we mean by that? Okay, so of course, we want you to refresh your portfolio, sell off your older portfolio because maybe they're only left with 70-year lease. Always buy back a fresher lease, okay? A fresher lease can always benefit more there'll be more buyers in the market. The next generation would probably love it, right? So if you pass down your old property to your kids, I think you probably will also sell it off, all right? So always take care of your own wealth first, okay? So we want you to look back into your portfolio. So what do we mean by that? Okay, so how does property, help you? So there's a lot of landlords that want to convert you guys into sell and then buy a private property. Okay, because why? Okay, things are getting older. Okay, you probably lose a lot of interest. You're gonna do a lot of repair works, right? Your aircon, probably will cost you $4,000-5,000. It has slower growth, higher maintenance, and sometimes you'll find it difficult to find tenants. Okay, so this is the reason why if you want to continue, okay, to build your wealth through real estate, especially the private property market, these are the factors that you should be looking at and to consider. Okay, so we want you to profit from, quantum, what we call capital gains, compared to rental yield. Okay, we want you also to enter at the lowest price possible. Okay, we do want you to enter at high prices, right? And we want to help you have low holding costs. You don't need to pay all your agent's fees. You don't have to pay maintenance fees, property tax. So we help you save up all this. Okay, major savings is on your interest rate, right? You don't have to pay much interest because it's under the progressive payment scheme. Okay, so we want you to look into this. I won't go into the details, but please just sit down with your agents on this. Now, let me give you one case scenario. Okay, what I mean by refreshing on this. For example, I have a client staying at Commonwealth Towers, right? So it's a good location, Commonwealth, make good money. But, we have to compare, okay? Good compared to what, right? So first, for example, okay, we'll draw Commonwealth Towers in the last 9 years to 10 years. The growth was 29%. Not bad, right? It is within market fundamentals. Every year, 3%. Not bad, not bad. But we have to compare it because we need to know, is this property helping our clients make money and maximizing the asset itself? So 29% is good growth, but if you were to compare it to the entire district tree itself, it's slightly below the average, right? So the average for district tree went up by 45%, Commonwealth Towers only went up by 39%, which is still quite fair, okay? But, okay, we look at the entire RCR region where Commonwealth Towers is. The whole entire RCR region actually went up by 86%. Okay, so definitely that means in this timing point, if you were to buy something different, okay, you probably have paid a little bit more money, than to hold on to your resale because things are getting old. They have made their money in the past, but it's always good, to enjoy new profits with new deals. Okay, so you can look at this, you can see that Commonwealth Towers is actually underperforming over the last 9 years. Okay, so this is why you need to buy into the next right asset, to maximize your wealth. Okay, so we're also looking to buy newer projects because why? 99% of the time you make good money. Okay, will this last forever? No, right? So there's always windows of opportunity. So I always share with some of my clients, sometimes over the 10 years, you only have that 1 to 2 chance of opportunity. So if you miss it, you still get growth, but maybe slower growth. Okay, so 99% of people make money, right? So everybody's looking to buy an investment. We all want to profit from it. So we want a safe buy. Okay, later I'll share with you why, people make money from this. Okay, so if you draw a chart, we'll draw the last 10 years, new launches versus the resale. You can see new launches growth is 98% and resale growth is 33%. Okay, like what I mentioned. Okay, why? Because everybody loves new things. Okay, so when you buy today, 3-4 years later, who do you sell it to, right? You're going to sell it to a generation that wants something new again, right? So again, property is not just a roof over our heads. The next generation probably wants to buy it. The pride of ownership in terms of location, they want a better location, they want something new. So this is why you can actually benefit from this kind of buying behavior and buying trend. Okay, so it's not that resale doesn't make money, it's just slower. So if you are looking to maximize your asset, really go for something that is more assured. Okay, last, we want you to upcycle, to recycle, from what we call OCR maybe to a RCR, right? From an RCR to a CCR. I think as a Singaporean, we all aspire to buy as near to town as possible. So I think it's always good that we start off somewhere, get upgrade. So even for myself, my first property was also bought in the OCR, right, in Bukit Batok. Slowly today, I also own a CCR property. Okay, so this is why I think slowly but surely, okay, if you follow the plan, follow a framework, I think you'll be able to achieve your dream home in town. Now, why is it important to share with this? So, what are some of the hot projects that's up and coming this year that you can also keep a lookout for? Last year, we had 24 launches, and this year, we actually have 29 launches. So, we do expect this year to actually be hotter. So, I think the good thing for everyone is that there's choices in the market. Okay, you will see good growth, but on the flip side of it, be very mindful. If the price will go up too fast, again, yeah, there might be cooling measures, but that's only a speculation. So, look at what are the choices available this year. I believe whether it's in the west, in the east, in the north, in the central, there will be something for you this year. Okay, so the first quarter, we're going to have a lot of launches. I think all these launches, I will leave it to your agents to go through with you. But just to take note, okay, this is just 1/4 of launch. Okay, so in the next 2 to 3 months, there's a lot of exciting things that you can look out for. Okay, one of the places we want you to look out for, I think, is this place called Lentor. Okay, there's a lot of transformation happening. This whole estate, okay, I think it's not familiar to many of you, but this location has seen phenomenal growth and phenomenal demand down here. Okay, so we're launching our 6th project this year. So 5 projects have already been sold. So the whole Lentor estate, okay, we have actually sold more than 93% in this Lentor itself. Okay, so as you can see, 100% sold, 99% sold, 97, Lentor we have 86, and Hillock Green we have 82%. Okay, so we're going to launch our 6th plot in the next 1 to 2 months, which is called Lentor Central Residences. Okay, so this is by Hong Leong itself with 400 units, and we do anticipate huge demand in this Lentor itself. Okay, so this again is a whole private property enclave. We wish you to go and revisit it. Okay, what kind of potential we're talking about? So this whole Lentor area is this circle out here. So compared to the future developments, okay, we always want our clients to enter a location that there's going to be very big transformations. Okay, so how big is the transformation? Lentor area is here. There's a small circle, with six different plots of land. And we do also see URA master plan zone for residential just, northwards towards Lentor. This whole area, it's going to be a whole new entire township, which has not even been announced yet, right? So township can mean what? Tengah is a township, right? Bidadari is township. So there's a lot of townships, but this time round, they haven't announced this township. So by the time you announce, you know that there will be HDB, schools, MRTs, community centers. So before it even happens, if you want to make good money, especially the next 1 to 2 years before this transformation happens, Lentor area is something that you can look forward to. Okay, not only that, okay, if you look at this year's summary, it's like talking feng shui. So every year there's a lot of launches, but if you look at the color codes, where are most of the launches this year? Okay, so most of the launches this year will be more catered towards the central CCR, southwards downtown areas. Okay, you can see most of the happenings will come from here. Last year, we had different happenings, right? We had happenings in the east, we had happenings in the northeast, but this year, people will come on board to look into the central areas already. Okay, so they come to the central areas. Why? Because if you look at these last few years, okay, especially last 10 years, you can see that OCR went up nearly double, RCR went up 80%, and the CCR region only went up 44%. I think let's put logic into place. Will a Woodlands property be more expensive than the Orchard property? Right? I don't think so. So when logic starts to kick in, where the OCR prices continue to go up, it's natural that buyers will overflow towards the RCR and then the CCR region. So if you want to invest in properties, you also have to look into cycles, right? Over the last 5 years, we have told our clients it's the OCR, but this time round, things have changed. Okay, so we used to see OCR prices more expensive than CCR. So this is something that you should look out for. Now, what's the main thing? We look at statistics, and not just what I say, but what are the statistics that prove so? So there is a narrowing gap between the OCR, RCR, and CCR. Now, let me give you an analogy. So in the year 2019, if you were to buy a RCR property at $2 million, if you want to buy a CCR, the price gap will be at 44%, which means you can only afford a $2 million RCR. The CCR will be 2.88 million, right? So there's going to be a price gap like this. But today, if you were to buy RCI 2 million, actually you can easily afford a CCR at 2.28 million. So the gap has actually narrowed. This is the reason why we do see a big trend, okay, of buyers gearing towards the central location of Singapore, okay, starting last year and this year to come. Okay, so take note of this gap, because you can see, okay, these are the statistics that we have. The gap is getting narrower and narrower. Okay, so one of the big transformation in the South is actually what we call the South Coast Transformation. It was only allowed last year during the National Day rally by our Minister Lawrence Wong. Okay, so he actually mentioned this thing called the Future Southern Coast that actually connects three water bodies, which is the Marina Bay, Marina Channel, and also your Kallang Basin, right? So these will be properties that are waterfront properties. Okay, so this is where transformation is going to happen, and this is announced. They just announced it last year, so we need to see what are the projects that will actually benefit from this as well. Okay, so the place that we do see we start off is actually Marina South. I'm not sure whether you've been there. So I think previously Marina South was a place that I ate steamboat for $10. But today it's all bare land, right? So there's nothing there at the moment. They're going to transform this whole Marina South into a waterfront property, waterfront district. Okay, so they call it the 10 minutes neighborhood. So they're going to have all these things that's going to build moving forward. Now, what is more interesting is that this year, we actually have one plot of land that's going to launch, which is called Marina Gardens. This will be the first plot, okay, if you believe in transformation, if you believe that things will only get better, okay, this is the first plot of residential launch in Marina South facing Gardens by the Bay. So I'm really, really excited because in the next 3 to 4 months, we do see this up and coming. So if you want to get your hands on a piece of transformation, you can always look at this plot of land, because moving forward, you can see that there's going to be more plots of land that's going to launch at the residential commercial zones. So if you want to make good profits, you should buy always the first, because prices always increase. Okay? So buy the first, won't go wrong. And to me, this is the view that you will get, right? So if Marina Gardens is here, you will be facing Gardens by the Bay. Okay, so if you look at this, I'm really excited. Okay, not only Gardens by the Bay, you can also see Marina Bay Sands. Okay, so and also some of the Kallang Basin and Kallang Channel. Okay, and also sea views. So these are things that we want you to keep a lookout for this year. Okay, and the CCR properties, there's going to be big waves. Okay, we're going to highlight some of the things that's exciting that's coming up this year itself. Okay, we have Robertson Walk, River Valley, Marina, which I just mentioned, and of course, Zyro GLS. Okay, so these are prime high demand properties. There are many, many properties that's going to launch, but these are our hot favorites, because how do we know? Clients are calling us every day to acquire on this. Okay, so this is how we know. So just a quick highlight. So where is River Valley Green? River Valley Green is just connected next to Great World City MRT on Parcel A. So Parcel B and C is not sold yet. So as again, if you want to make good money, you always buy the first plot, and then while the second plot and third plot launches, you will basically already be sitting on good, healthy profits. Okay, so the Parcel A will be launched very soon this year by being tied next to Great World MRT. The next one is actually on Zyro. So Zyro, there's 2 plots of land, Parcel A and Parcel B. So Parcel A will probably launch first by CDL, and it's connected. It is connected to Havelock MRT. Okay, so it is really just next to the MRT downtown. Who doesn't know where Great World City is, right? So Zyro is going to launch this. So keep a lookout. It's by CDL, a reputable developer, and I believe it's going to be something that a lot of Singaporeans want, right? So from the east, you want to invest in Central. From the west, you want to invest in Central. To the north, invest in Central. This is the place that you should be looking at. Okay, also something under the radar, maybe not many people know, but just to share with you, there's going to be a redevelopment by Frasers at this place called Robertson Walk. Okay, so if you've been there, it's next to a UE Square. It's also near our Singapore River, near the Fort Canning MRT itself, near UE Square. Okay, and what's the most beautiful part about this project? It's going to be a 999 years in District 9. Okay, so District 9, 999 years is super hard to find, because you guys know URA is no longer selling any triple nine or freehold land as a GLS. You can only get freehold and triple nine through outblocks or redevelopment like this, right? So Fraser's going to redevelop Robinson Walk. So this year, keep a lookout for this because near the MRT, Singapore River, District 9, if you want good rental income, you want good capital gains, I think this Robinson Walk is something exciting for you to keep a lookout. Okay, so as mentioned, why we say that ASEA is the next boom town. So this year is like boom town Charlie. Why? Because OCR, has already crossed 2008 at Jayden, Jurong, and Chong Park itself, they've crossed 2,700 per square foot as a OCR. So today, I think you can get CCR at similar prices. So we do see a big wave coming to town. So, do explore town with your agents. Okay, what is existing that you can explore? We have a Union Square, okay, which is actually a redevelopment for Central Board by CDL, and it's only 2,008 per square foot. Okay, so a lot of clients, a lot of you guys probably don't know is because why? Maybe you're always back at home, you didn't really travel to go and see this location, the value of it. You get good tenants and you get good PR demand. So if you want to make good capital gains, you have to enter a zone that people are willing to pay you more, right? People are willing to pay extra. So these are places that, slowly but surely, when, a lot of PR start to come in, millionaires, this is where they will buy. Union Square starting for 1.4 of a million. You have the Collective at Sophia, right? So at District 9 itself, 2006, 2007 per square foot. I think it's as good as a OCR. I'd rather get a CCR. And of course, moving forward, launching very, very soon is Oriole. This is the previous former Golden Mount. There's going to be a residential, and also some offices. If you guys are willing to explore offices, it's also facing the waters, right? So you have your marina, the Kallang River. So this is where I think, you should look out for the town properties. This is where all the excitement is going to be this year. Okay, so I think importantly, okay, why we always say that prices, always try to go up is because of inflation, right? So first, you have a higher land cost, no choice. Okay, so we have to government is protecting land costs. Second, you have your higher price in terms of construction, your concrete, your workmanship, your architect's fees, and that's the reason why you launch at higher prices. So ultimately, it's not that we want to push up prices, it's because this is reality, right? So most important, okay, private property is something very different from the HDB market. So if we look at the HDB resale, the next project, BTO, will always launch cheaper to control the price of HDB, right? As mentioned just now. But what about private property? If you look at private property, why do we say that private property always go up? It's because the land cost itself is protected by URA. Okay, URA seldom or they do not want the next GLS to launch lower than the next, than the previous project, right? So they always want to launch it, sell the land slightly higher or at market price. Okay, they do not want to sell it lower. And this justifies your safety net in buying a new development. So regardless of how big the developer is, you can see, okay, there's the second plot of Marina Gardens by GoCoLand, which was actually rejected by URA because they bid too low. Okay, so GoCoLand rejected. Fraser's, tried to buy another media circle, also rejected. And even CDL and Catalan, who tried to buy a Jurong Lake district, was also rejected. So all these rejections are actually very good news to property buyers because it protects your entry price. Okay, so this I hope can give you more confidence to explore the newer projects and also to recycle your location and recycle your lease. Okay, so this is how competent we are, in this market segment itself. Okay, last but not least, I sort of summarize some of the key benefits, if you were to refresh your portfolio to a slightly newer project or into a better location. Some of the key benefits is that you have lower interest rate. So in the resale market, you pay for your full interest, but in the new launch market, it is a progressive payment. So you only pay a fraction of the interest on the progressive payment over the 3 to 4 years. So this is a huge savings that you can get. Next, there's no maintenance cost, right? You don't have to pay maintenance fee. You don't have to also physically maintain for any aircon or tolerable leakage, right? You don't have to maintain anything. no property tax, right? You make money and yet don't get tax for it. I think that's perfect. There's no property tax for it. No renovation cost. I think renovation cost easily can cost 100,000 today. So there's no renovation cost. As mentioned, you don't have to pay fully, for your property because it's in progressive payment in stages, right? So 10%, 10%, 5%. So it is in progression. So you don't have to pay full installment for it. So just have to hold on 3 to 4 years, probably you can already, be sitting on good profits already. And last but not least, the GLS price, as mentioned, is always protected by URB. So always moving forward, you can be assured that you will not see a major price, discounts on the next plot of land. It may vary by 3 to 4%, but it will not be like, the BTOs are going to sell you 20-30% lower, than the resale. So this is how our private property market is being protected. Okay, so I think I've come to the end of the session. I hope that it interests you. And also, just to end it, so really leverage on the new launches to maximize your profit. And if you want to know more, where are the new launches, where the excitement, what are your finance like, do contact our ERA agent. You can actually sit down with them. They will go through with you, like this. We have a new launch guide this year that they can actually present to you, and maybe you can find something for yourself and make good money in this year 2025. So thank you so much for your kind attendance, and I hope to see you around one day. Take care. Bye-bye.